And now on the line is Cathal Leavy, and we are going to talk about the new mental health Facebook page he has recently created. Cathal, welcome back to Near FM.
How you doing, Darren?
Good, thanks, Cathal. Cathal, before we talk more in depth, can you tell our listeners what is this new Facebook page you have started and why you created it?
Yeah, I basically started a channel not just on Facebook, but also on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. And it's basically called An Irish Schizophrenic Speaks Out. And it's basically just talking openly about my experience of mental health and trying to basically ultimately destigmatize mental health and get people to open up and share more and basically improve society. That's the intention anyway.
All right. I watched a couple of your videos on your Facebook page, and I have to say, Cathal, you came across physically and mentally like a picture of health in the videos. This is maybe not how many people would associate illnesses such as schizophrenia. Do you think, Cathal?
Yeah, well, that's true, but I have to say, for a long time, although on the outside, on the surface, I appeared well. I was going through chaotic times, like. I was having a very difficult time, under great distress and stress. But like on the surface, yeah, you wouldn't know someone has schizophrenia. It's so prevalent in society. Like, you would not be able to tell a person has schizophrenia just by the appearance of them. But no, I've gone through very distressing times, and trust me, sometimes. Oh, it's extremely difficult. It's not something I would wish on my worst enemy. That's the truth.
I understand that schizophrenia is a neurological illness that is of the brain, but for many people with the illness, but not all, there are mental health manifestations or implications. You've kind of just referred to this, but can you tell me, Cathal, is the illness for you mainly neurological or a mental health illness?
Well, for me personally, it's basically mental health. It's a very traumatic, distressing illness. For me, I personally believe it was triggered by severe bullying throughout secondary school. But by the same token, I do think we have a genetic predisposition towards the illness. For me, look, it just came my way. I got it at 26. I've had it for the last 23 years. It's been extremely tough. It's been a very, very tough time I've had with it. It's got me into all sorts of trouble. Got me. It's been a horrible time, in truth. A lot of the time, if it wasn't for the fact that I had a good mental health team supporting me, and the fact that my parents and my family have been supportive, if I didn't have those two things, I probably wouldn't be around.
Okay, what's the worst aspect of the illness to you, Cathal?
True, for me, it's the voices. The voices just completely control you. They drive you crazy. They harass you. They torment you. They have you doing and saying things you wouldn't want to do and say in a million years. They have you acting totally out of character, getting involved in things that are just off the wall, completely crazy, bizarre. It's like, you just cannot understand the torment you're put through when you have this illness. I mean, it's so distressing. Like, it's just like inside your mind, it's like a volcano was going off all the time. And the voices are, in a sense, they're throwing petrol on the fire, It just drives you crackers.
I was talking to you about this recently before our interview, and for the benefit of any of our listeners who have not heard this, but research recently from brain scans has come out that said that even the issue of hearing voices is also a neurological thing that is of the brain. I'm not a mental health professional, but I suppose that an illness such as schizophrenia crosses from being a neurological illness to a mental illness if there are changes in mental well-being and behaviour as well. Do you think this is how it is, Cathal?
Look, the way I see it is, for me, the voices, it's deeply spiritual. I don't see it as a physical condition or what have you. It's yes, it's a mental illness, but there is a spiritual element to this. I don't buy into the notion that these voices are just part of my unconscious mind, you know, and there's some misfiring of neurons or whatever the case may be, or some malfunctioning of the brain. I don't see it as that. For me, it was a deeply spiritual experience. It was all to do with God and the devil. When I first got this illness, to best describe what it was like when I first got it 20 years ago, I basically woke up one morning. I was moving over to London to take up casual work, and I woke up in what was a living nightmare. In a sense, my brain was, while I was conscious, fully awake, my brain was processing a dream, but it was a nightmare in truth, all to do with God and the devil. Everybody I was interacting with was, to some extent, involved in this experience I was having, all to do with darkness and the devil. And I was tormented, in truth, tormented by the devil. I mean, I was getting demonic voices abusing me, and it was extremely off the wall, bizarre experience, madness, crazy. But fact is, it was deeply spiritual. And I personally, I just don't like the arrogant types that are out there who seem to think they can dismiss all notion of God and the devil when, they've never experienced these experiences we people, we schizophrenics have had ourselves. Because I know a lot of people have schizophrenia, have the similar beliefs I have the similar experiences, and I just don't appreciate arrogance amongst some who think they can go and dismiss what I have to say in relation to this and what other schizophrenics have to say in relation to this. Trust me, it's been deeply spiritual and deeply, deeply traumatic. Can you imagine what it's like to be tormented by the devil? And as I said, when I was moving over to London 20 years ago, for the first 3 days when I was in London, I was constantly in that dream-like state, nightmarish state of the devil tormenting me. As I said, I come from a middle-class background, and when I was over there, it wasn't due to lack of money, but because of schizophrenia and the torment I was going through. I was sleeping on the streets in London, down by Victoria Station and parks in West London. Now, I only did it for about 5-6 days, but still, it was because of schizophrenia, not because of poverty or anything. But that's the nature of schizophrenia. You're in a parallel universe, parallel world, but it is extremely distressing. Imagine what it's like to have a nightmare while you're awake. That's what schizophrenia is like when you first get it, you know. And one thing I'd like to say I just say to either carers or parents of schizophrenics, you have to understand that you can't be, when a person first gets schizophrenia, you can't be of the attitude, oh, get out there and work, or go to college, or do this. You have to be functioning in society. Trust me, schizophrenia will bring you to your knees. It's like, and imagine, how on earth can you function in the workplace if you're processing a nightmare in your head where everybody involved with you is somehow interacting with your experience, and you're being tormented and told by voices to do and say things. It's extremely disabling. It's a horrible experience.
Yeah, and just to go back a couple of minutes, what we're talking about hearing voices. I've heard and read that roughly half of people who have schizophrenia hear voices and the other half don't. So something like 1% of the population have schizophrenia. So we're talking about around 70,000 people on the island of Ireland. This is a lot of people, isn't it, Carl?
Yeah, it's a ton. Personally, I think, I say there's probably a lot more than that in truth, because there's a lot of people who are going under the radar of psychiatry in that sense, that they experience voices, but it's not exactly traumatic. For some people, their voices can be a comforting presence, but, you know, when it becomes distressing, yes, you need the assistance of psychiatry.
I agree with you that there are a lot of people who were on the spectrum of having a psychosis who go under the radar. I agree with you about that. A lot of people. I'm just wondering if the name of your page is ideal. Like, for people who have, for example, the illness of epilepsy, they may not like to be called epileptics. I'm just wondering if using the name schizophrenic is a good choice of word to use. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, well, I had to give the page a title, the channel a title anyway. So I just went with what came to mind. Schizophrenia was obviously going to be in the title to some extent, so I just wanted to speak out openly on the issue, and I do believe in destigmatizing mental health and mental illness, because that is the biggest issue and that's wrong in this society we're living in. The fact that people feel stigmatized by opening up about mental health problems. As I said, stigma is causing more suicides in this country than depression itself. That is the truth. Stigma has to be put aside. People should not feel ashamed for having mental health problems and difficulties in life. They should be able to open up, you know. And that's why I set up this channel. I want to help people and encourage people to open up and not feel stigmatized. It's not right.
Okay, it was great talking to you again on Air FM. Before you go, can you tell me if you have any plans and hopes for your face or your social media pages going forward?
No, well, not really. As I said, look, I just after putting the videos I started up onto Instagram just today, so they were already up on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. But yeah, I honestly, I think that probably covers a broad spectrum of channels out there. If I come aware of other platforms, I'll probably post them there too. But no, I just want to encourage people to basically open up about their mental health. You know, we can't stigma, I tell you, as I said, it's causing more suicides in this country than depression itself. And people need to open up and seek out therapy, because trust me, therapy heals. Therapy will help you a huge amount. Before I went into therapy back in many years ago, I was a man full of hatred and contempt for the world. I hated life. I wanted out. I was suicidal. I just had hatred in my heart. But through therapy, I've come to be a very well-balanced, nice, caring person. That's the benefits of therapy, and that's why people should seek out therapy.
Are you going to be continually, for the short to medium term, updating your social media, or are your videos like an archive?
Well, I've got I think 50 odd videos up already, but I'll keep sharing things for as long as I can come up with ideas for new videos. I don't know where it's going to go from here, but we'll see. You know, as I said, I'm just sharing on what I experienced myself. You know, I don't delve into material that I don't necessarily understand. I just talk about my own personal experience in relation to mental health. And I just want to reach out to others. As I said, I've suffered enough problems in life with depression, social anxiety, schizophrenia, and other issues, victim of severe bullying and all that. So I just want to share in those topics things I know about.
Okay, thanks, Cathal. I'll share your social media pages in the link on podcast, okay?
Appreciate that. Thanks, Darren. Okay, talk to you later.